let's start in just a comfortable seated position. Oh. Once you get yourself settled in, I like to do a little bit of a rock back and forth. I'm gonna take a little drink of water. Just get yourself settled. Close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. You could even lay down if you feel like stretching out instead of sitting. Sometimes just getting ready to do something, there's all kinds of little tasks that you're doing. And so this is our chance just to pause the tasks and become fully present right here in this moment with this next breath that's coming up. And the one after that. So let's do a couple more of those, just deep breaths, just being present. Take your arms, just stretch them up over your head. Oh, get a good long reach and then twist any direction and then put them back down. And you can adjust the shoulders, adjust the arms. You can reach across your knee if that feels okay to do. Notice how the twist might be going, and don't be too aggressive with your arms. Try to let your core do most of the work. Nice tall. You can look out over your back shoulder. I'm going to move my head from one side to the other just because my neck is still a little bit stiff this morning. Take one more breath. We're going to take this arm that's up front. We're going to come back with that arm, go out at a diagonal over this knee, and then side stretch that side. And again, you can open up a little bit and go back in. Oh, see how that lower back feels today? It's possible that you have a creature that wants to wrestle with you. Oh, maybe not. All right, so we're going to come all the way up. Oh, give it a little rinse. Oh, that feels nice. Oh. Now, this is the fun bit. Oh, we're going to see if we can put the other leg up front. So, for me, there's the other way is the most common way. This creates like a little bit of a change. And so sometimes if you've got like a little tender knee or something like that, you can stick a little blanket or something under your knee to make it happier. Sit up nice and tall, reach your arms up, oh, stretch, and then rotate the other way and put your arms down wherever they land. And again, you can reach across if that feels okay to do. You can move the shoulders back and forth, turn the head back and forth. Just do it with a little bit of consciousness. I'm exhaling my head to one side and inhaling it the other way. And it feels a little bit looser than it did at the beginning, so that feels nice. All right, I'm going to do it one more breath. And then as I exhale, I'm going to unwind my twist a little bit. I'm going to reach this arm out to the diagonal over that knee and then stretch the side bend. Oh. And again, you can add like a little bit of movement here, a little bit of movement there, oh, to find all the little tight places. I like to almost kind of float myself up a little bit with that inhale, so I got lots of room for breathing, and then, oh, exhale and really stretch it out. One more. And then come on up. Oh, give it a little rinse. Oh, this is one of my favorites, this little washing machine movement. All right. Good morning. So I'm going to come up to all fours. Oh. And do some cat shapes. So I'm going to start with my fingers pointing forward and my feet a little flat, kind of pressing the top of my ankle into the floor as I arch my back and round my back. Oh, just going back and forth. Exhaling this way is usually easier for me, but you can do it the other way if that feels right. Inhaling, finding another shape. Now I'm going to turn my hands to the side like that and do one more round. Just allowing for some wrist change. And then I'm going to do one more. So I'm going to turn one palm forward, one palm back, and then just lean back into that wrist stretch. You can manipulate the back as well. And then unwind that wrist. And then let's do the other side. So that palm's going to face forward, this palm's going to face back. Kind of find that spot where it feels like the wrist stretch is okay. Not too spicy. But interesting. And then when you're ready, rinse that one out. Now we're going to tuck the toes under. I'm going to stretch one leg all the way back straight. Let me walk forward a little bit. So I've got all kinds of room. And then pressing back through the heel, I'm going to roll over my toes, kind of smoosh the foot into the ground, and then roll back. Press back. Over the toes, and back. Just kind of, This is really comfy to do on a carpeted surface. It's a little bit harder to do on a wooden floor, so if you've got a hard surface, it can be a little bit more challenging. All right, so press that heel back. And then we'll take that guy back down. We'll do the other side. So tuck your toes under, press back through your heel, and then come forward and back. And forward and back. You can even do this, like if your wrists are tricky today, you can certainly do this on your elbows. With that, you're still going to get into the top of your foot. Just maybe a slightly different angles that you're working with here. So one more time like that. All right, so pressing back through the heel. We're going to let that knee come down. We're going to take that front leg, or the first leg that we did, and bring it forward into lunge. And we're going to take this lunge forward and back. A few times forward. Kind of feeling out where that stretch goes. I'm using the blocks for support. Come forward and back. Okay. So now as I come into the stretch, I'm going to pause and add a little twist. So I'm going to turn towards the leg that's up front. You can reach that arm around. You can put a block out here so you have a little bit more structure. And so as I lean forward into this, the sensation changes. As I back off, the sensation changes. So you're just feeling out the sensation and how much is the right amount. Good, one more breath. And then we go back to where we came from. I'm going to step back into down dog and take this down dog into a little walking up and down pattern. So get my shoulder blades kind of lubricated and put them where I want them. And then walk the heels up and down. If you want to throw in a plank, lower down, cobra, up, back to dog, you could do that here. I'm going to do a little bent knees and heels down. And bend the knees and heels down. All right, so you can step through, or you can bring your knees back down and bring that other leg forward. And again, you can have blocks handy while we're moving back and forth. So we're going to go forward till we feel something, and maybe even a little past the feel something, just see what happens. Be mindful of your stretch. Not too much, not too little. Easing back and forth. So I'm going to go into the lunge to where it feels like that's a pretty good spot. Add the twist. And then I might decide to ease in a little bit more, or I might stay right where I wound up. Even backing off a notch. And one more breath here. And we'll come out of there. I'm going to set my blocks up out of my way, and I'm going to take it back to down dog one more time. Okay, now, from this downward dog, after I've given myself a moment to shimmy, we're going to come forward into a plank. You can keep a full plank and lower all the way down. You can bring your knees to the ground and lower down, elbows in nice and tight, so that we keep the shoulder blades on the back. And then coming into a cobra. We're going to do this about 4 times. So we're going to inhale, lift into cobra. And you can plant your hands nice and firm, draw the elbows back. I'm going to inhale, lift into cobra. And then I'm going to turn and look over my shoulder. Turn and look over my shoulder. Come on back down. We're going to do it one more time. So inhale, lift into cobra. Now, I'm holding myself up. And then I'm going to move one arm forward, look over that shoulder. Look over that shoulder. I'm going to do that one more time. Just roll the shoulder forward and back. Roll the shoulder forward and back. And then come on back. And we'll step back to down dog. So, here we are. And I've got a little bit of a block in my way. So, I'm going to take this leg up. I'm going to bring it in, give it a little hug. Take it back. Oh, bring it in, give it a little hug. Take it back, give it a big stretch, sink into the opposite heel. And then step this foot forward. And we're going to come to our friend warrior 2. So once I've got my feet where I think I should get them, I'm going to come up and check it out. So I might change my mind about where I've got my feet placed based on the surface. Oh, come back to reverse warrior. Over to a side angle, give it a stretch. Oh, back to reverse. Over to a side angle. Keep this thigh lifting. Plant your feet nice and firm. If you can, stretch to your floor. And then one more time. And then we'll come all the way back and take it to down dog. Okay. Now from dog. Ooh. After a moment of checking in, we'll take it to a plank. Lower your plank all the way down or halfway down. Come into your choice of a back bend. And then come back to dog. Now, taking that opposite leg up. And again, we're going to, hug it in. Stretch it back. Hug it in. Stretch it back. Sink into your heel. And then step it forward. And we'll take this to our warrior 2. And find your way in. And come back to reverse. And side angle. And reverse. And side angle. And reverse. And then we'll go all the way back to down dog. And take that dog. Just take a moment. And then we'll do the vinyasa. Or you can skip that and stay with your dog. Coming into your cobra. Or your up dog. And coming back to down dog. Now, I'm taking this first leg up. We're going to take that guy high, bring it in, and step it forward, but slightly off to the side. Now, slightly off to the side, we're going to go back and forth, going forward, and going back. Coming forward, going back, seeing what happens as I straighten that leg out. One more time, coming forward, and then coming back. And now I'm going to wiggle it into place for my warrior 2. And come on up. And did I get it right? Pretty close. So coming back to reverse, straighten out your front leg. Let this turn into a reverse triangle. And then we'll come over into triangle pose. I love a block to do triangle because I can push against it and use that to help kind of open up and expand. You can leave the arm up or leave the arm down. Or what's been feeling nice to me lately, because I've been working on my computer a lot, is rolling the arm behind my back. Looking up, looking down. 2 more. Last breath. Okay, we're going to turn this into a half moon balance. So to do that, some people can just jump right in, but I'm going to wiggle my back foot in so that I'm not quite so weighty on my back leg. You can use the block. You can put your hand on the floor. And then we're going to lift up and take this back leg off the ground, see if you can open back up and extend up. And sometimes for me, the carpeted surface of my living room is wobblier and my balance might be challenged. So when I catch, just come right back up. Oh, and go right back up. There it is. And it doesn't matter if you hold a balance pose as much as that you recover and find a little playfulness with a balance pose. All right, so let's step it back to down dog. See how that felt. You can come forward into your plank and lower down, or you can just pause here with me and just feel that dog. All right, let's do the other side. So we're going to take the other leg up, give it a good long stretch, and then we're going to step it forward but off to the side a bit, and then kind of going up the diagonal. We're going to ease forward and ease back. Ease forward. Use blocks if the floor is too far away. Ease back. Ease forward. Ease back. One more time. All right. So now that I'm back here, I'm going to wobble my feet where I like them for my warrior two. Come on up. Oh. Find that position, come on back to reverse. Turn that into reverse triangle. Oh, there's a little extra room to stretch there. And then come into your triangle pose. And again, choosing the variation that's going to work for you today. Whether you use a prop, or your shin, or nothing. Maybe you add this little alternating head move. Inhaling one direction, and exhaling the other. Two more. And then leaning in, and bringing that back foot in. We're going to take this to our half moon balance, with support or without. I'm going to try not to land on any of my plants. Stretching up, connecting, keeping it lofty, and catching when you fall. Woo. All right, rather than step back to downward dog immediately, we're going to come to a wide angle forward bend. So kind of shift it around to the front or to the side. In my case, it's the front because I'm looking at you. All right, so I'm using a block under my hands to sort of give me something to press into. You can also put your hands on the floor if it's close enough. Shake out the back of your neck. Ooh. And then we're going to do a little half squat flow. So keeping a block in front of me and turning my feet about 45 degrees. I'm going to flow over to one side and see how low it feels okay to go. And then flow over to the other side. I'm just going back and forth. Checking out how deep my hips are willing to take me into that little half squat. Ooh. And then we're going to pause on this side and just lift through the center thigh. Keep your knee in a place that feels appropriate and safe for your knee. Oh, and then come back to the center. Pause for a moment. See if you can feel a difference between the two sides. And then we'll go the other way. And again, I'm lifting slightly through the center thigh. Feeling out where my knee should be. I don't usually go past my toes much, but some people can. Oh, one more breath. And then we're going to come back to the middle. Now, turning the toes in a little bit if that's available to you. If you feel anything that feels like a pinching in your knees or your hips, turn your toes back out. Okay. Then we're going to hang in here as deep as we can hang in here. And sometimes it feels really good to me to put my head on a block or on the floor if it's available. It's a little too far away usually. But the block comes up to meet my head. And your pose might be nowhere near the floor. That's also fine. You can bend the knees a little bit to help take some of the pressure out of your hamstrings. And then just hang upside down as far as your body hangs. We'll be just fine. It doesn't matter if your head touches the surface. All right, so we're going to take one more breath here. And then we're going to kind of turn this into a wide angle downward dog by walking the hands out in front and keeping some of the weight on the arms and some of the weight on the feet. Just stretching between the wrists and the hips. Oh, I like my hands really close together for this one, so they're really tight in towards my head. And then one more big breath. And we're going to bring it back to the center. So we're going to come down onto the floor. You can squat down and sit directly, or you can take one knee down and then sit and bring the other leg around. Now, we're going to take both legs out in front, and just for a moment, just kind of rock a little bit of your flesh out from under you so that you can feel yourself sitting on the tips of the little sit bones, which technically are called ischial tuberosities, which I don't know why we don't call them that because that's a fun word to say. All right. So sit up nice and tall, both legs up front. Bring them in as tight as it makes sense to bring them in. Put your palms down on the floor if your arms will reach. And if you're like me, you can use your little spider fingers. And then draw the shoulders back and get tall. This is called staff pose or dandasana. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but usually when I pronounce Sanskrit, it's with a fake Italian accent, so I'm improving a little, I think. Dandasana. All right, so spread out your toes. Stay a moment. We're going to do 2 more breaths right here. And then we're going to try to fold this thing forward. It might fold only a tiny little bit forward. You might be able to put your chest and your belly on your shins or on your thighs. You're going to reach forward and see, can I get hold of my feet? If the answer to that is no, and you want to do this action I'm about to describe, you can use a dog leash or a yoga strap or a towel, whatever you got handy. Wrap that around the feet, and then you'll just hold on to it nice and firm. So you're going to push with your feet like you're pushing on the gas, and then you're going to gently use your arms to traction out your spine a little bit so that we're creating some length from the hips to the collarbones. And rather than letting the back really get round and hunchy, we're going to try to sit up. So you could be sitting straight upright, just like that staff pose, and you could be resting your forehead on your shins. And there's a lot of territory in between, which is where most of us will fall. I'm going to take 2 more breaths here. And then you're going to release whatever you're holding onto, feet or the strap. And then we're going to bend the knees a little bit and shake everything out. Now we're going to do 1 leg at a time. And rather than keep it on this tight kind of center plane, we're going to swing the leg out to the side a bit. So some people can bring their heel right in against the groin here. When I do that, I get my legs kind of mostly come back to where I had them. So I leave a little bit of space and I let my foot hang out in the middle. Now, I'm going down the center here, and I'm hoping that there's going to be a little inner thigh stretch for me. If there's not, I can try swinging that leg a little further out to the side. I'm going to turn these toes on and point them up towards the ceiling. You can walk a little over this side. That kind of changes it. If I walk a little over this side, that changes things. So if I want to find that inner thigh, I might find, oh yeah, right there. So slightly to the diagonal, but in, that's where I get the best sensation. So sort of experimenting with your palette of stretch and picking the color that works best for you. And 1 more breath here. And we're going to float ourselves up. And then this leg is going to become my rock the baby leg. So I'm going to pick him up and I'm going to hold on. So I'm going to hold on to the thigh and I'm going to hold on to the foot. And then I'm going to rock that baby back and forth. Oh. And I'm trying to get movement right here in the hip femur socket, the femoral acetabular joint. And so then I'm going to see, can I put my leg up on top of my other leg? This might be impossible, in which case, put a pillow or a block out in front of you, put the leg out on that object so it's held up a little higher, and then bring your thighs as close to a square as you can. For some people, it's better if the knees cross, and so you can do it that way instead. And then we're going to see if we can fold into this. Now, it's possible that already there's too spicy in your hip. Don't fold. If it feels okay to do it, go forward. And some people can even rest their elbows on the floor in front of them. And so you can experiment and see if that's you. And so we're looking for the stretch now to be sort of in the glute over here on the outer part of the hip. It's actually under the glute potentially, not right in it. So you're just kind of seeing where the sensation works for you. Sometimes, again, if I come over here, the sensation changes. I kind of like what that's doing to my back, though. And if I come over here, the sensation changes. And so I'm just going to kind of feel that palate out. Ooh. Take 2 more breaths. And then we're going to come all the way up. Big inhale. Unwind your legs. Oh, give everything a shimmy. All right, so we're going to do the other side. So we're going to take ourselves out into this V. Bend the opposite knee that you didn't bend before. My knee has been feeling a little sensitive this morning, so I'm going to put a little support under it. And then I'm going to fold straight down the middle. Oh. And see where that takes me. Now, what's nice to me, again, is that I have like a little range of motion. I'm seeing if I can feel something right there in that adductor. When I go this way on this side, this is better. On the other side, it was better when I got a little closer to the leg. Right? So just kind of explore your opportunities here. You can turn the leg on so the toes are kind of spread out and aiming in the top up toward the ceiling or sky, as the case may be. Ooh. Yep, so somewhere in this diagonal seems to be a really sweet spot for me. We're going to take 2 more breaths. And then inhale your way up. And this is going to become my rock the baby leg. Oh. So we're going to rock our baby. We're going to see if we can get that baby to come up on top. And if that works out, great. And again, if it doesn't work out, put something up in front of you so you can bring your leg out at a different angle. I find that more pleasant anyway. And then fold forward if there's availability. If you're already feeling sensation, you're there, right? So you pause where you feel sensation and then watch the sensation. Pay attention to it. And if it shifts and gets lighter, then you can go forward more. If it's already there and you're already kind of feeling that intensity and the propensity of your nervous system to sort of react to that, don't go further. In fact, back off a little bit. We want to keep the nervous system as relaxed as possible. When we're too pushy, it's not relaxed. It's trying to save itself from us. So again, we're going to do 2 more breaths. Back, unwind your legs. Ooh. Now, our last pose is a relaxation pose. And so you can do a supported bridge pose where you put a block or a pillow underneath your hips and stretch your legs out so you've got your hips a little higher, your head a little lower, your feet on the ground. That's a nice way to kind of stretch out the hip flexors, and if you've been sitting a long time, it's really nice. You can do Shavasana, which for some of us, the hip flexors are tight enough that Shavasana is already hard, or you can do a seated meditation pose. So you're going to make those choices for yourself and carry on and do that. And then hopefully have a great rest of your day or your night. Namaste, yogis.